how is it actually possible to keep the spark alive after years of a relationship? When you feel deeply connected, you really love your partner, but you ask yourself, we maybe ended a bit up in being roommates instead of lovers. Is this even possible? So we say, yes, this is possible. We created a framework, our 3-pillar connection and intimacy code, where we teach actually exactly this. So what are you doing after years when this honeymoon phase is gone and we jump into bed easily 3 times a day? I think the first and foremost important is to clean and clear everything what is on your backpack. So you're carrying over years, maybe some resentment, and maybe you even ended up in being more friends and love each other, yet where's this spark and this attraction? There we are actually already in the second step. So we talk about 3 steps. One thing is the honest communication. It's about communication, it's about honesty, and it's about getting to know yourself better and understanding your partner better. So there is things like, have you actually spoken about everything? How is the quality of your communication? So can you actually speak about everything? And most couples don't. So they hold back, they don't have the difficult or vulnerable conversations, they don't speak about their desires and fantasies. So obviously the resentment keeps building up and you are retreating from the things who needs to be said to build deeper connection, to keep intimacy. Before you then can create more attraction, and then what leads to intimacy. You explain it mostly so beautiful. So how does one thing lead to another and leads to another, right?
Yeah, so the connection and intimacy code, as the name says, is how can we go from connection to intimacy. And that's why we have this 3-step framework that Tina was introducing the first step, which is honest communication. When we have honesty, we will have also transparency, which is higher than honesty. We have a great connection. We clear the space between us, right? Because we share all the secrets, all the things we're thinking about, we're feeling, we're resenting, anything that is on our system that we are not telling our partner because we fear triggering, causing pain, or getting into conflict, which is mostly the case. And we hold back. So holding that back is creating a distance between us. And what we want in a relationship and bringing up the spark is getting close again, right? That's why our signature program is called Pull Me Closer, because we want to be even more close, right? But that's another thing. So once we clear the air of all the things we are not sharing, right, we leave a space to now go to the second step, which is nurture the polarity, the different roles of the woman and the man, right? How can that attraction happen? So if we have cleared the space and now we have attraction, what happens? Inevitably, you end up, touching and physically, right? And that leads to what? Intimacy, right? So when we have connection, we have a emotional connection that is also very nourishing. And also we have the attraction, there's a pull between each other. And then, of course, leads to intimacy. And of course, we have also to get educated on how to have an intimacy that is not the default one, the one that we learn through pornography, for example. Or actually, that's why we do this brand, because we haven't got taught sexual education, right? So how can we go about intimacy that is more sensual, more connecting, more nourishing, right? So there you go. That's why we do the 3 steps, because actually to reignite the passion, we need the 3 steps. We some people just work on the intimacy part, on the sexuality, right? Because that's actually what's missing, right? The thing that is missing is sex. The thing that is missing is intimacy. And that's why they think, okay, we need to go to a sexual coach, which I think it's great to do. Learn as much as you can and find the things that work for you, of course. But that intimacy will never be nourishing and connecting if we don't have the honesty. So you see, we have to start at the beginning. If we want to have the intimacy, if we want to have the spark, the vibrance in our relationship, we have to start all over the place, because what's missing is the foundation of connection and trust, right? So that's why we start first with the communication. And that's the hardest part, because also we have to know ourselves. we have to work through something called emotional intelligence, right? Whenever we share something that is on our heart, we are actually risking something. We're risking that we will get rejected, laughed at, humiliated, avoid all these things that we are scared of. That's why we don't share honestly, because we fear the response from our partner. We also fear causing pain, right? For example, if I share that I'm watching other women or I'm attracted to other women to my partner, how is she gonna react? Of course, if she hasn't worked through her stuff, she's gonna react in a way of something we call outer child, which is something that we teach on our signature program, which is this adolescent and reactive side of that we all have, and we have to work around that reactive side. So it's a little bit something called tempered, right? It doesn't come out so often, and when it comes out, we have the tools to just temper it. And when both partners know about this, they can work through all these triggers that all of us have, right? This is something that we share in our juice letter, right? We have a lot of things also going on as a couple, and we work through them thanks to the connection and intimacy code. So all these little stories we share on our juice letter, but that's another topic. But yet, that's where we have to start. And once we start going through the challenging, we call it challenging conversations. People call it difficult conversations, but are not difficult. It's just going about them and having the tools to navigate those emotions as we arise. And you will see how, if you go through the challenging conversations, your connection will deepen. Because actually, what is intimacy? Intimacy is intimacy, means to see in the other. And honesty is actually intimacy. So the highest intimacy is actually to be honest. But of course, we also have the physical intimacy. And that is not about honesty. It's about touch. It's about learning ways on how to, have a nourishing and intimate experience that is also physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, right? And that's it.
And because all of these minutes until here were pretty unsexy, and you were maybe thinking like, yeah, and where coming the practical tools, how to reignite the spark. So maybe let's put 5 things you can do to reignite the spark. Next to all of what we said now, we shared a bit of theory around it. Maybe you could already take a bit out, but if you need some more practicality, we can do.
And before you start, I think if you had any questions about anything that I just said, please leave them on the comments and we will look at them. Also, if you have any context that you like to share on your personal experience, please leave it on the comments or write us an email, right?
Or you want us to do another video about a different topic?
Exactly.
Put it
in the comments. We are very passionate about this,
yes.
So we want to help you guys. And now Tina can share 5 practical tips.
Like 5 practical tips how to actually reignite the spark after many years. One important would be, there are more than 5, yet I try now to put 5 important ones. A very important thing is that you both check in with each other if you are in the same boat. So do you, watching the video, and your partner do actually want it the same way and the same priority to stay together, to reignite that spark, and that intimacy and attraction and juice is the same priority for you both? Sounds so like obvious, yet it isn't. Sometimes one person wants it more than the other. So this would be one very important step to do and to check in.
And something to share about this, like, yes, we start the relationship, and that's one of the conversations we have when we start the relationship, right? Where do we want to go? The thing here is that relationships get in default mode, and we take for granted that we initially decided to stay together. We take for granted our relationship, and we don't keep talking about the relationship. Do we want to be together, right? That is something that doesn't just happen at the beginning of the relationship. We have to understand we evolve as people, right? Look at you 1 year ago, 5 years ago. Like, you've completely changed, right? And your partner as well. And your priorities, your needs, your desires may change because you have changed. So it seems logical to me that we have to keep talking about our priority is the same, right? And that's what Tina was actually saying on the first tip.
Next would then be leading to talk about your values, your desires, maybe your unspoken things you carry, and if you still have a shared vision. This I would put in one. So number 2 is talking about values, desires, a shared vision, and unspoken things. When you agree on, yes, we want this, we love each other, and we want to reignite the spark. Amazing, check. Second thing is, what are actually now, with our new current actual version from now, values, each one of you, desires. Have I not said anything? Yeah, you can practice already the vulnerable, challenging conversation, maybe. And do we still have the same vision for our relationship? 2. So if you have spoken about all of this and still are in the same boat and agreeing on, oh, wow, I really love you and I really want this with you. Okay, so these 2 you have done. 3.
And before that, before the third, if you have desires, you have desires. So it's for you to pursue them, right? What happens when we don't pursue our desires? That they get stuck on our body and that energy goes against us. So whenever we follow what we desire, what we're passionate about, what happens with life? Like you're healthy, you look radiant, you look so much energy. People will say, wow, what's happening to you? Because you're actually doing what keeps you alive. What happens when you avoid or you don't do what keeps you alive? You know, you already know the answer. So you have your desires for a reason. And that's why you have to check with your partner. If he can support or she can support you on pursuing those desires, or maybe you have to have a conversation. But what's very important, and that's something that is greater than the relationship itself, is that both partners support each other and find ways on supporting each other on pursuing their desires, right?
100%.
And the best would be to be able to fulfill your desires with your partner, which we agree is the best.
It's possible, yeah. 100%, because you can't suppress it. So you have them for a reason. So learning to speak about them and then seeing how, where, when, with whom you can fulfill them is a second step. It's important to take them serious in this case. Third step? Yeah. Third step would be a reset to 0. How is this possible after so many years together? You think you know your partner, you know everything about him, you know everything about you. A reset and a beginner's mindset. What have you maybe not yet explored about yourself, about your partner? What have you not asked yet to your partner? What have you haven't done yet with your partner? And I'm not talking about intimacy, in general. Maybe there's things you don't know about your partner. Maybe there are things you never explored because there's so much obviously busy day-to-day default life that you are having maybe a lost bit of this mindset of a child, a curious, explorations, adventurous mindset. So go back to playfulness, beginner's mindset. It can feel silly, it can feel weird, it can feel flat, yet allow yourself to be playful and curious and innocent again to yourself and not falling too much into, I can't do this, this has to be more serious, adult, you can't do this as me, as an adult, as this version of me, in my work, in my relationship, you don't do these things, all of this weird stuff. No, go back to reset. Who is saying all of this? Choose to ease, to be more playful, to be curious. And if this feels weird or crazy in this world, go for it even more. So it's like the third step is reset. Do innocent, beginner's mind, playfulness. Think about weird, crazy stuff, what you could explore with your partner and about yourself without being too much stuck in here and into default. Step 4 would be, how do we actually create again more spark, because we need more polarity. Most relationships lose the spark because they lose also the polarity and the attraction part, leading to a good team. We love each other. We are a good team. We are roommates. We organize our days. We love each other. We can spend hours on the sofa watching a movie, organize the kids, organize the food, going out, having beautiful vacations, yet in the bed is zero. So how do we create back the attraction is actually, does the man want to enhance and come back maybe more into his masculine energy? So what are actually the masculine traits you both want to feel, like the man in himself and the woman in his man, and vice versa, the woman? So is it that you maybe have the roles a bit reversed, so the woman is controlling everything, is maybe managing the relationship more, is the man more laid back and more in his feminine,
passive,
artsy version, taking more care of things, what usually, I'm talking more in archetypes right now, a woman would do. And everything is fine. The thing is, we want to create attraction. And so that's why sit down for yourself and write down what you would like you yourself to see, you in a version of maybe a very sensual, passionate, soft, leaned back, surrendered woman, being held by your man, protected, provided. Dream this version of you would love to see in this relationship, even though it might feel far away and it's like impossible to reach. Forget all of this. Dream yourself into the version of this most sensual, beautiful, passionate, embodied woman you want to be, if this is the case, and this beautiful, empowered, masculine, decisive, matured, integrated man. Like, play and dream with these two versions of you and your partner. And how would this look like? And that it's not too much overwhelming. You would pick maybe 5 qualities or 3. Start with 3 qualities. How would this look like? What is not the reality right now? And from this version, you would love to embody 3 playful qualities and start integrating them right now and see what is changing.
And to that, I want to say that every man that I know and every man on earth wants to provide, wants to take care, wants to protect, and wants to be on that masculine figure. So let's have the honest conversation between us. Hey, is this actually as a woman, am I giving the space to the man? Mm-hmm. Am I trusting the man on his decisions and wanting him to step up on that role? Because men wanna see their woman happy, right? So sometimes the men will, shrink. How do you say?
Shrink. Mm-hmm.
Shrink a little bit because he wants to do good to the woman. Mm-hmm. But if the woman wants to be on this role of the masculine, and the men will follow and will be on the feminine. So as men, I know men that are good-hearted, I don't want to say I'm good-hearted, but I try to be, wanna be on that masculine. But first they need their partner to trust them. And that can be something that is not like this. Mm-hmm. It takes time and this is a whole topic that we can do in a video. Yeah. But reassuring to the man, validating the man, and giving all this reassurance to the man when he steps up, when he takes initiative, and you say as a woman, oh, I love this that you have done, and this will help the man get to this role. So this is not something that happens overnight. It needs an exercise, and needs practice, and needs day-to-day commitment, so the man can actually come to this masculine figure. And this will take a little bit of time, but that's also wonderful, right? It's just a play.
And there is also some inner work possible. So there are some tools and exercises where you can heal the things what keeps you away from this. Like what Bruno was saying, there's something is called internal marriage, for example, or the inner and the outer child, or the attachment style. So there are several tools and exercises you can do to actually, change your behavior by coming more into your own being, when we want to say it like this, that this is actually possible, what Bruno just said.
And that's actually the first step. The first step starts with the woman. Even if you think that your partner has to do stuff, no. It starts with the woman. And maybe this is counterintuitive, but it all starts with the woman. We can also do a video about that. But yeah, let's keep with the tips.
And now, tip 5, because so far we haven't landed in bed. And you would love to have, like, how can we create the spark? So now all of these 4 steps, when you created more of this playfulness, more of this beginner's mindset, more of curiosity, more of a bit of this polarity, so then maybe a bit of interest in being intimate again would have come back. And then we would recommend to start slow and different than before. Same beginner mindset. So going way slower, what most couples would like be challenging to do because we are even in intimacy so on default. Recommending to do a completely new setup and being curious and playful about your bodies. Like in this point 5 and being intimate and going slow and out of the default could be that you start with simply being naked 15 minutes, laying down in a naked body to body cuddling position that actually at least woman's body but also the men, that you can actually connect and relax.
And maybe you can cry, huh? Because sometimes what will happen is that you've been on default so many years and you haven't been able just to be present. And what can happen, especially through touch, because we always say that touch goes beyond the mind, anything. It's just the most powerful thing that we can have. So whenever you're in bed and you're just 15 minutes without doing anything to each other, just, touch to touch, naked, I mean, your nervous system will, of course, relax. That's what happens. And then you can relax and things will come up to the surface. And yes, some tears may come up, especially I know from my wife, when this happens, some tears come sometimes, myself as well, because so much time without this, right? And you have to let that out. Don't suppress what's inside. So use that experience to relax and let all those things out, and then you will see like you're even more close, right? Emotionally, not physically.
Merging,
Yeah. So start with that. Don't focus on making anything to anybody, orgasms. Forget about all of that. Start from scratch, beginner's mind. That's something that we say. And just be on those 2 naked bodies touching again, like for the first time, and just focus on the connection, how it feels, and Tina knows more than me in these things. But
the sensation, you can, and even here, back to communication, start sharing. Even before, maybe you can set an intention or boundaries or desires or whatever before. Communication around intimacy, another thing. And then you can, if you feel your body relaxing and merging, maybe you want to caress each other. Or maybe only one person wants to caress the other and the other can receive to relax even more. Maybe kisses, slow, soft kisses, to really feel and trust. In many couples it's also happening because we are 2 different animals, men and women, so that women are closing because the touch of a man does automatically mean, okay, now we have sex. Let's decondition this, that touch does not mean sex or penetration. Maybe touch means connection. And so if you have this conversation and having the agreement or boundary, okay, this won't be penetration today, this won't be intercourse. This will be connecting through physical touch and being with each other so that the woman can relax that, okay, whatever he's doing, nothing will enter my vagina and nothing will mean intercourse, default, penetration, performance, orgasm, nothing. Simply being body relaxing by touch and kiss and even talking and laughing. Like maybe this is the container you are in. And you will see how much more playful, ease, fun, pleasurable, connecting this will be if you agree on a bit of this container. And from there, you follow us for more because there's so much to say, as you know.
Well, you see, there's so many things to work on, and that's why we have created a whole program called Pull Me Closer, which ends up in this what we were just sharing, guys. Can I pull myself closer to her or to him? Right? So there's so many things to do and so many things to, tackle. And that's why we framed it on 3 pillars, right? Because actually, if you want to be that connected on intimacy, you have to first start with the honest communication. Because if not, if you're carrying resentments, which is mostly the case, you have to share them if you want to be that connected. If you're on that bed and you're still on your mind resenting stuff, it won't be able to go from the mind to the heart, because the heart is where we connect as people, not from the mind. We're not, yeah, we
not
can,
with the genitals.
and not with actually emotionally, yeah, exactly. No, it's heart to heart connection. That's what actually connects us. And if I'm in my mind thinking about the things that I'm not saying and the things that I'm resenting, you're just gonna be up here. And up here, it's very difficult to, have a passionate and vibrant relationship. We have to come down here and sometimes also to the genitals. But well, yeah.
Exactly.
But well, more
It's
videos on
coming
this.
after the emotion,
So if you had any questions, any commentaries, any questions also on the tips, please let us know in the comments and follow for more videos.
Exactly. You will